Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a Suzuki Jimny 1996 with 168,000 kilometers on it. This one was bought from auction for export over to the USA. The Suzuki Jimny is like a Suzuki Samurai. It's called the Jimny here in Japan. This one's called the Wild Wind version. And I'm not sure exactly what the Wild Wind version is, other than a fun way to call the car, because in Japanese, Wild Wind is Uwairu. Well, let me say that again. Wild Uairudo. That one's really hard to say. Wind in Japanese is window. Uairudo window. Yeah, I know that I'm mispronouncing that wrong. Wild is one of the most difficult Japanese words to say. Anything with the L or the R is really tricky because it's kind of somewhere in between. Anyways, back to the review. This is a third generation Jimny. And there are currently 5 generations, so 2 away from the most recent one. But Jimnys tend to last for a good long time. Usually they're 10 to 15 years per generation. It's a turbocharged 660cc engine. It's the K6A engine, which is in the later model Cappuccinos and other turbo K cars. Puts out 64 horsepower. Known to be pretty reliable, dependable engine. The one that came before it was the F6A, which is also known to be pretty good as well. You can definitely drive these on the highway. They are going to be at pretty high RPM when you do that though. So do keep that in mind. It is only a 64 horsepower engine. Okay, now the engine running condition is good. There is a little bit of chassis shake in it. This is usually due to an engine mount or a transmission mount that needs to be replaced, or maybe all of them. So that is something to think about. You probably don't need to change them. It is only very mild, and so it's not going to harm anything. It'll just be a little bit vibraty, particularly when at idle. Okay, the oil and the coolant both looked okay. Has this cute little intercooler, and take a look at the tiny little intake piping here for the engine. Okay, these are modifiable. You can get up to 100 horsepower fairly easily out of them. Actually, Suzuki makes a kit with a bigger turbocharger, a computer, and basically just runs the boost at twice what it's supposed to, and it handles it pretty well. There is a little touch of rust inside on this clamp here and the other one on the latch, a little bit on this bracket, and it's just light surface stuff, so it's nothing I would really worry about. A little bit in here as well. Okay, and oh yeah, up here as well. Let's close the hood now. Okay, quick look at the car. These Jimnys are awesome. This is on original suspension height. You can get them lifted. There's a ton of aftermarket support for them here in Japan. And so if you want to get one all kitted out from auction, you can. If you want to get one that's more original like this one, you can as well. Overall condition of this one I think is pretty good. I'd give it maybe a 7 out of 10, with paint being the biggest problem and maybe some damage to the seats and the interior being the second biggest problem. Let's go ahead and translate the auction inspection sheet here. So 1996 Jimny 4-wheel drive. They are all 4-wheel drive, so whatever. Wairudo window. Wild windows. But they look pretty normal to me. You can pop them out from the side if you want to be extra wild, but you don't have to. You can choose your level of wild window on this one. I hope I haven't ruined this car for the next owner of it. 168, 475 kilometers on here. Still has current registration. That's why you see the license plate on it. And this license plate is yellow. And ta-da, that license plate is white on the ISF over there. Why is that? Because this is a K car. You pay like less than half of the taxes for a K car. And you don't need an official parking spot for a K car, where you actually have to register a parking spot for any other white license plate regular size car. And so they're kind of a cheaper way that you can get into driving if you need to drive. Very, very popular here in Japan for K cars. Okay, automatic transmission in this one, which is really cool. Automatic, manual, both of them are cool for this. Power steering in this. Sales point is intercooled turbo. The report here says windshield rock chip, interior wear, underside surface rust, audio is missing. And then it says paint fade on the front bumper. They didn't hit the paint fade on the side here. And actually on several of the panels, they've been repainted. Overall, I don't think that the paint is great. On the panels that have been repainted, they are glossier, but they can have paint wave on them. And then on the panels that haven't been repainted, it's kind of a little bit hazy. You can see, well, it's not focusing very well, but, or it is focusing too well. Anyways, if you look at it from this angle, you might be able to see it more. It has this form of paint fade that looks like micro scratches. You can see a lot of them in this area here, and they're mostly only visible when light is hitting on them. So every once in a while at auction, something like this isn't going to be noticed because there isn't direct light shining at the angle needed to see it. And so that's what is the case here. You'll see that on Suzukis like this, Mercedes-Benz, Toyotas, but it's almost exclusively on silver paint, and then also on some of Toyota's gold metallic paint of the 1980s, 1990s. It's pretty exclusive to that era. Okay, anyways, let's, oh, this one was a no claim. The section of auction doesn't allow you to complain about anything and get some money back, but to be honest, most auctions will turn down any of your attempts to claim anyway. Wild Wind twin cam turbo. That's right, it is a twin cam. Okay, the Jimnys are great. They're great for everything. You can use them as a little commuter that's really good on gas, or you can take it out to the bush, like this bush. Look at how big the JDM tree has gotten. Let's just take a little bit of a survey there. When we started, this little branch here was nothing. It got cut off in our first year, and now we're getting a little tree out of it. Too much tree. They are actually surveying it earlier today to cut some of those branches down, which would be wonderful because since the trees have gotten bigger in the last, I don't know, 5 years that we've had this lot, it's become darker here where we shoot the videos. Time for us to get a new lot, I think. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's take a look at the car. So, damages and other things. I'll talk about damages and non-damaged things as well. These third generation are very similar to the second generation ones. One of the key takeaways, though, is you get the two lights on the outside, similar to the very first generation. Okay, this one also has fog lights. Maybe that's part of the Wild Window version. Okay, there is some rust on the casings for the fog lights. And actually, the mount for the headlights is rusty. If you look all the way around, it's a rusty panel in there. The front bumper is unpainted, and then you can't feel these scratches, but it's just like there's like fade and non-fade sections. The fade can be scratched off, but you can turn it all into the non-fade version with some sort of a product that's like back to black. Not sure how effective it is, but that's what its claim is. There's a big scrape there that continues here with some surface rust. Also these two scratches along the edge of the over fender. You'll notice the Japanese version of these, at least the K-car version, they don't have blistered fenders like the USDM ones do. If you want the blistered fenders, you can still get the 1.3 liter engine version. That one I think has around 80 horsepower or 85 or something. So not a lot more power than the K-car, and then a lot higher registration costs. And so because of that, the 1.3 is a lot rarer than the 0.6 version or the K-car version. Here you can see a little bit of rust inside here. That happens on all of them. Look at this, door hinges are on the outside. Not many cars have that. Hood hinges are on the outside, same thing. And trunk hinges. Like a military vehicle, nothing is hidden. Okay, now we got a little bit of rust spot here. We have a couple of chips here that have rust on them. Okay, back bumper is pretty good. Back hatch has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and nothing underneath the tire. Areas that it has rusted, it's been sanded down and then painted over. Also a little bit of that same kind of fade on the back here. Okay, roof is all good. No rust in the rain gutters. That's nice to see. Down here, these hinges are looking good. Spare tire is all right. Wheels. The wheels have a lot of corrosion on them. Let me show you the worst one. You can decide if you want to get some new wheels or you want to repaint these ones. And tires come from 2002, so they're now 2002? No, 2012. So a 10-year-old tire. And in the tire and wheel check video, I said the size, it's a 175/85? I don't know. Just pointing out a few dents here. Okay. A few little nicks there. Okay, a little bit of rust in here and some chipped paint. Functional vent for your hood. Cool. I think I mentioned that on the last Jimny that I shot. which is for the same buyer. That's right. Go to buy a Jimny, end up with 2 Jimnys. Because the only thing that's better than a Jimny is 2 Jimnys. Okay, got a little bit of scratch damage here to the door card. Looks like the seat belt was closed in the door, because you can see some scratching and denting here. And some here. You also have a little spot of rust that will turn into a bigger spot of rust if you don't seal that up. A little bit of a wire brush and some paint. The seat here. Not the best, not the worst. It's a little bit saggy. You can notice it while you're driving it. It sags more on the outside. Most of the time when a seat is saggy, you don't really notice it as much as you do in this one. But it's really not super noticeable. It's something I noticed, but sometimes I wonder if I just notice things that other people don't ever notice. I'm just making troubles for myself. A little bit of a rip there. Something here, I'm not sure what's going on. And then a hole here. Not a cigarette burn, there's actually some collapsed foam inside, and it's a rip up against the metal frame section. Okay, power steering is good. Shifting is good, which is nice. Automatic here. You can select 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive or low gear ratio to give you that extra climbing power that you need. You don't need a large engine to go climbing. In fact, a large engine is bad when you're doing climbing. What you need is proper gears to go climbing. A little bit different with the automatic transmission because you won't get to choose your regular gear, but this steps it down at least 50% or so. Okay, place for your phone. This one here is a Navi screen. It's not going to work outside of Japan. Headliner has a couple of minor rips in it. One right here. One here. So more than a couple, I guess. And then one back there that's a little bit bigger. Okay, back seats look good, but they don't have their headrests. You don't get a ton of space back here, but at least more than in the first generation by like 6 inches. Okay, I'll show you the trunk, or whatever non-trunk there is. You can put a box of soup. Or, what is this? I don't know what it is. I'm not good enough at reading. But 24 at 250 milliliters. I don't know. Okay, you can flip these seats around if you want. So that they can, or like flip them down and then flip them once more to be cargo area. You can remove them completely. Do keep in mind that if you only have 2 seats in a car, you're paying 25% import tax to the USA. If there's 4 seats, you're paying 2.5. For the most part, I'll just keep that simple. This is registered as a regular vehicle. No issue, but a lot of people save on taxes by removing seats and turning it into a quote-unquote cargo vehicle. Okay, so that's the end of the review here. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a nice day.